Welcome to Midwest Sports Scene. I'm Roy J. Akers, and we have a special Grand Prix show for you. And boy, is this show one that you have to watch from beginning to end. We have the captain, Roger Penske, Indy 500 winner Simon Pagenaud, former Indy 500 winners Will Power, Scott Dixon, and Helio Castroneves, and much, much more. We start off our show with a driver that has raced several series, including NASCAR, IndyCar, and a whole lot more. That's Juan Pablo Montoya.
Juan Pablo, you've been in multiple series. I don't think you're going to get you all by yourself, you know. But with Juan Pablo, you know, you raced in Indy cars, went to NASCAR for a while. You're back. You feel at home?
Yeah, it's good. I love being right now at Team Penske at IMSA, you know, with the Akers. It's a great program, and, you know, we finally got a breakthrough win the last race. So, you know, coming here, you know, the weather looks kind of iffy for Saturday. That makes, you know, it's a street course in the wet. Couldn't be more tough than that.
Now you're driving for the captain, and he almost got the double dip on the weekend, you know, with the Indy race, and of course in the Coca-Cola 600 just missed on that. I imagine that would have been that's like a unicorn. I don't think anybody's ever owned a team that's won both races.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. You know, if you look at the performance everywhere, you know, they won in Australia in the same weekend. You know, they've won everything. It's great to see. You know, everybody. You know, they have such an amazing people. You know, what Penske is all about is people. You know, they put the right people in the right places, and they do a really good job.
Now, you've been in different circuits throughout your career. You've had a lot of success in all the circuits. Where do you see your career like coming up between now and the next few years? I mean, are you grinding it out, or you building for something? What are you doing?
I really enjoy what I'm doing right now. I think it's a really nice schedule. I love driving the race cars. I still love racing. So for me, what I'm doing is great. It's a great balance. You know, it's 10 weeks a year. It's a really nice schedule.
A final question. I'm doing a story on using data in the car. How are you using data? I mean, are you using it obviously on the track, but are you sitting down with crew chiefs and that off the track to, you know, are they? I know that they're adjusting chassis and all that kind of thing, but are they also? What kind of data do they feed the driver to help your performance out?
We look at our own data a lot of the times. We as drivers, we got our, you know, the driving channels, you know, pedals, steering wheel. Everything, you know, throttle position, steering position, the speed, the RPM, the gears, you know, so you can look at how you drive, how your teammates drive, how you know how late you brake, how you get on the gas, how you roll the corners. You can look at all that. You can see if you have more understeer than your teammate. Why do you have more understeer? Yeah, they're doing something different to make it better, and so on. So there's a lot of things you can do with you know with data nowadays.
Juan Pablo Montoya, thanks a lot for stopping over, and hey, hope to see you on the podium this weekend. Thank you. Got it.
We continue our show with drivers in the undercard series, and now go back to the Rooster Tail.
You had to change your shirt. I think you were worth waiting for there. Taking a look, you have a double points weekend. This is with me is Rafael Matos and racing for Lear and that. With this double points weekend, this has got to be a huge weekend for you.
It's definitely the most important weekend of the season. I'm sitting second in the championships right now, so I'm hunting Mark Miller down. He's got a very fast car. I feel very confident about this place. I feel I have the car, I have the team behind me, and I have a great sponsor, Lear Corporation, stepping on board, giving us the resources to make it happen. So I'm really happy about this.
Now, you raced in the show. Was it your rookie of the year? Was it 10 years ago? Didn't you race in the Indy cars?
Correct.
All right. Now, you got your start off there. You go in the different series. I mean, how do you feel as though your career is on the arc? You feel like you're still on the way up? You feel like you're at where you need to be? How do you feel about where things are going?
I feel really good about it. I feel the Trans Am is a great series. It's a series that suits my style. The races are sprint race, 70-minute races that the driver can really make a difference driving the car and saving the equipment. IndyCar for me was a big dream back then, 10 years ago. I was able to make all the way to IndyCars, race there for 3 years. Certainly the biggest series in the United States, where all the best drivers are, the best teams, the teams that have the resources to hire the good drivers and all that. So certainly a place that I would love to be back, right?
Of course.
I have lots of friends here, the teams that I race and drivers that I'm still friends. We'll see. I'm focusing on the weekend. I'm gonna try to get Lear 2 wins this weekend. That's my goal. And we'll see what happens after that.
Now, this track was really the pothole 500 or the pothole 100 for the first few years it was here, but now they resurfaced the track. Drivers say it's improved. What do you say?
They resurfaced, but it's still cement pavement, so it's still very slippery. The track, the main characteristic is cement and it's very bumpy, so there's nothing we can do about that. And you constantly fighting the walls, right? So it's the traditional American street course, and I love it.
Final question. The teams, I did a story last year on teams using data. Are you getting a lot of little data transmissions while you're driving a car, or is that something that you study after you get off the track and you deal with your crew chief and the owner and that kind of thing to get the ultimate performance out of your car?
Definitely, we have a data system. We don't have 70, 80 channels like IndyCar. We probably have 10, 15 channels that we're able to analyze the telemetry and make our decisions as far as setup goes. But definitely that's a very important part of the job.
Rafael Matos, you look like a double podium driver this weekend, and obviously if you could hold up the trophy, hopefully you can practice your posing between now and Sunday. Thanks a lot, Rafael. Got it. Thank you. Got it.
Will Power has had an up and down series in 2019. He won the Indy 500 last year. He tells us about his season and career.
With me, Will Power. You won the race last year at Indianapolis. You're moving on to Detroit. At the peak part of the season's going on with the big weekend. I call that a major at Indy, and of course you got the double weekend. I mean, my gosh, it must be really intense for you.
It is. It's enjoyable. Love to be busy. And being busy driving race cars is not a bad thing. But certainly a hectic month. A great finish for the team. Obviously, 3 cars in the top 5. It's very strong, and winning it. And for me, going to the back of the field and getting back to 5th. At that point, when you're 5th, it's more about getting those points for the championship if you're not in the game to win it. So, could have been a really bad day as far as points hit, but kept me in the game somewhat.
Now, you took the lead at a couple late spots in the race. It looked like you had yourself a good shot. What was going through your mind? You were middle of the pack, I think, was it top 10, middle of the pack for a little while in the race, and you moved right up. Did you think you had a really good shot to win the race?
I did not. Making the mistake, getting the penalty, and being put to the back was just about making your way as far forward as possible. No chance to win it unless you had another 50 laps or something to what we had.
I want to ask you a couple of questions, kind of some feature stories I'm doing. One is drivers, you're using data more than ever in the pits, and you're using that. How are you using that information when you're qualifying and running some practice laps? And then, how do you work that out with your team so that you can put that into action? That's all we use now. The data is so important as far as analyzing what other people are doing, analyzing what you're doing. In between sessions, you're just constantly looking at the data, the video. We have a thing called Dartfish where you can shadow overlay a car in a corner as filmed and then have your shadow car going over it to see what line and such that you're using. So the amount of data that is used it's impossible to do it without it. Final question, Detroit Grand Prix with the double points races that you have, how does this set up your season doing well here? Can you recover if you don't do well, or this is really a point where you have to be in the top 5 or win a race?
Yeah, for me it's every weekend now. But here, I mean, you got the same amount of points on table as the 500, so you want to have a strong weekend.
Well, thank you very much. Congrats, and you did fairly well, and hopefully you'll take home another victory this weekend.
AJ Foyt Racing is now run by AJ's son Larry. AJ's still around. Larry Foyt is still trying to find the magic with his team.
With me is Larry Foyt, owner of the ABC Supply Company team. Tell you what, your team so far this year, the Indy 500 was so-so. What's going to be different about Detroit?
Well, it's been a tough year for us, no doubt. We did get the top 10 at Indy. We got the 4th place at the Indy GP, which was good for Mateus.
That's right.
But on a whole, the performance has been lacking, and we're still scratching our heads to why. Came in here with even a new package to try to figure out what we're missing, and practice 1 wasn't great, but I think Tony thought he found a direction maybe, so we're gonna keep exploring that.
Now, taking a look, a lot of data is everything now in the cars. I think that you're feeding information to the drivers even while they're practicing, and then I think you try to kind of put it together by looking at the big screens. What are you really looking to do? I mean, how does that work?
Well, it's a lot. The drivers are calling it grip. They're looking for grip. So obviously the engineers are analyzing the tire pressures, the tire temperatures, what part of the tire they're working, what are the ride heights, are we getting the right downforce out of the bottom of the car versus the top of the car. There's so much. Obviously braking's very important at this type of track. So having the car compliant enough to ride the bumps, but also stiff enough where it doesn't hit the ground. So there's a lot of things going into it.
I guess final question. So taking a look, you guys finished 4th in the, I call it the Roval, but in the road course at Indy. Is there anything that you can take from that and bring it to Detroit, or is it basically just 2 different animals?
Well, maybe the rain. Rained in that race and we did well. The forecast might have some rain here, so maybe.
That's right, tomorrow. Anyway.
Exactly, but no, obviously Indy GP is very smooth. That track's a little bit smoother compared to a street course like Detroit. So, we're looking at our St. Pete setup, our Long Beach setup, those type of places to try to hit on what we need here for Detroit. And what's frustrating is last year Tony really liked his car here and got a top 10, but it didn't really work at the first practice, but we'll see how it goes.
Just one real quick AJ question. You got to get one. He's my favorite driver ever. My dad took me, when I was a kid, so I'll do that little fan thing. But getting right back to the whole thing, I understand that AJ, he's got his footprint still all over the team. I know you're the owner, but when you can draw from a guy like him, you got to do it.
Well, he's really the owner, I'm still the son, so it's.
I didn't say that,
he's
folks.
the big man. No, he's always the big guy, and he's super helpful. I mean, it's amazing how sharp he is still at 84 years old, and the engineers and Tony really respect him, and Mateus, as a young driver, really looks up to him too. So he's great to have around. He still comes by the shop every day when we're working, and definitely, he's forgotten more than I'll probably ever learn. So if you don't listen to him, you're pretty stupid.
Larry, get back to owning and winning. I want to see some podiums, and I know you want it 1,000 times more than me. Thanks, Larry.
Absolutely.
Got it.
Scott Dixon is one of the greatest racers ever in the IndyCar circuit. His 45 wins are 3rd most ever behind AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. He has won at Belle Isle multiple times. He's won 5 times on the circuit. When Scott Dixon gets a lead on road courses, good luck trying to catch up to him.
Scott, coming off of the Indianapolis 500, you were in the top 10 quite a bit during the day, but you weren't quite at the edge. What was the difference?
Yeah, we were looking really good. I think the strategy was playing quite well to our favor. We were going really long on fuel. I think we were 15 or more laps longer than the leaders at that point, and we were really focusing on trying to eliminate one of the last stops, which would have helped for track position. But yeah, I think we made it up to 6th. the second to last caution is what really put the nail in the coffin. You know, we were one of 2 cars still left out. That put us to the back of the field on the next restart.
Racing luck.
Yeah, that's the way it goes, you know, and then actually got caught up in the accident with, with Graham and Bourdais, and that's what wrecked our car at the end and stuck in 6th gear, and that was it. So we ended up 17th. So yeah, not a great start or end, I guess, to our Indy 500.
Now you have 5 championships in this circuit. You know, you're third all time in the Indy, you know, in wins and so forth. You're still here competing at a high level. I mean, is there any end to the fuel? And Scott Dixon, are they gonna have to push you out of this thing?
No, I still love it. You know, it's definitely, the fire has never changed. You know, it's something that you know, the competition really drives us. You know, and especially in the NTT IndyCar Series right now, you know, the competition is just so tight. So that's what fuels me. That's what keeps me going. We had a pretty strong start to the season. Indy double points definitely hurt us a little bit, but you know, hopefully we can come back and win in Detroit like we did last year.
Yeah, you won on Saturdays. I remember that. You had a great race coming into that. Detroit, is this one of your favorite tracks?
I love it. It's this weekend and this format is very unique. You know, it's the only doubleheader now. We used to have a couple, 2 or 3 of them throughout the season, but it's also the timing of it too. You know, we come off 4 or 5 straight weeks at Indianapolis in preparation for the Grand Prix and then the 500, and then now to come here for a doubleheader, you know, is very grueling on the mechanics and the team, and definitely I think makes for easy mistakes. You know, so this is where the championship can really change up, and you know, hopefully, you know, if you have a good car here, you can definitely earn a lot of points.
So I just want to follow up with a couple more things. So you got the Roval, or that you have over at Indy. You're there you're going stir crazy there for about 3 weeks before you get the race. You come here with a double points weekend. Really, do you have a good idea what your season looks like after those 2 races at Indianapolis and then here?
I think this, you know, it's the time after Indy is to ride the momentum maybe that you have, or definitely try and get out of the slump you're having. You know, this is the turning point. I think the summer stretch is really one of the determining factors, I think, for the championship, you know, sort of shootout. So I think if you can have a great sort of, you know, another 6 or 8 races right here through this period, you know, definitely gives you a great opportunity to try and go for another championship. So that's our goal, and that's what we'll be trying to do.
Well, there's no doubt about it. I think you have a 6th championship still in you. I know you do, or you wouldn't be out here. Congrats, and hopefully you'll be on the podium Saturday and Sunday, and we'll remember this moment. Thank you. Thanks.
When we return, we speak with Helio Castroneves and Simon Pagenaud, and also the captain, Roger Penske. Helio Castroneves has won the Indianapolis 500 3 times. Castroneves also has fine moves off the track, winning Dancing with the Stars with Julianne Hough. He's also still hoping for his 4th championship.
Hey, no problem. Helio Castroneves.
Yep.
Hopefully, I got the name right on the very first try.
That is my man. Say that again. Let me see.
Helio Castroneves.
Wow. See, you gotta go like with the flow. I like that.
Oh my gosh, I can't even roll my R's with my tongue. But I tell you what, you know. So it's been a decade since you were on Dancing with the Stars. You still get those questions besides guys like me?
How funny you ask. I mean, just coming out of the plane right now, people were like, we're here for a competition on dancing. I was like, oh my God, this is great. So they're kind of referring for obviously winning dancing 10 years ago. But it's great. It's great to be back here. It's great to be again going for Belle Isle. So I'm excited to be in Detroit.
Driving for the captain, for a Hall of Famer who nearly pulled off the Penske, the double dip last weekend.
Yeah.
You must have. Did you watch some of the Coca-Cola races to see if he'd get it?
I was so tired after the race and a little bit disappointed for us, but very happy for the team. Obviously, as a competitor, you kind of like, oh man, I had such a good car. I could actually join my teammates up there. But Simon did a phenomenal job, and I did not. So I was so tired after the race. I was like, oh, I just gotta take relax. And but I heard that Brad was winning all the stages, and the team was doing super well. Unfortunately, towards the end. But in the end of the day, celebrating the another 18 Indy 500. How about that? 18 Indy 500. That's incredible.
I mean, holy smokes. Now, you don't have 18, or 18, but I tell you what, how many you got? 3, 4? How many you got? You got
3.
You got 3. I thought you had 3. I wasn't sure.
Trying for the 4th one. Unfortunately, wasn't up.
But you know what, though? You know, AJ took 10 years between his 3rd and his 4th. And maybe you got one in you. What do you think about you? You wouldn't race if you didn't have one more in you.
If I wouldn't feel it, if I wouldn't have the fire in the guts, you know, I definitely I won't give up. I definitely won't give up. Hopefully Roger won't give up either. But in the end of the day, obviously, it's not only my decision, but I'm going to continue fighting until I get that number 4.
Now, obviously, you still got a great career. You're on the trajectory. You haven't won as much, but at the same token, are you as much a teammate mentoring people, or are you still the Helio show? I mean,
well, now that I'm doing sports car, obviously you can see with the Akers program. So we won last year with in Mid-Ohio. This year was our teammate, our sister car, Wilma Montoya and Dane Cameron. So we're back here in Detroit. Hopefully we finished 2nd last year, but since I'm doing a different type of series, it's different complex, but it's still excited. It's still very much pushing to the limit, and hopefully this weekend we're gonna do another great comeback from Akers Team Penske.
one final question. I'm doing a story on data, and how much when you're driving the car, I know they're giving you pointers saying this is some readings or whatever. Are they feeding you some data there? Are you doing a lot after the race where you're maybe taking a look at something in your performance you want to improve? How does that work for you?
Well, data is part of our world, especially in racing. I know, understanding, obviously, with our cell phones now, we have a lot of data, but we actually have some live data when everything's happening, practice, racing, so they can give the right information. Also, in practice, I can see as well exactly what's happening. If my teammate has something that I didn't see it, I'm able to share information, even with explain to the engineer. So we have a lot of information, not only data-wise, satellite-wise, telemetry-wise. So we're really technology basically driven. So not only that, but the car is also completely different. We have a lot of details and even the series actually can extract data from your car so they can see what's going on. So it's a very very detailed series, and I'm just excited that we're here in Detroit.
Now, I know you're going to race another 30 years. I'm kidding, but I'm doing this to set this up. You know, you got the personality to be on TV. You probably be one of those guys that can kind of push through the glass. Is that something you would do, or do you like more working behind the scenes? I can't even imagine that. You look like a pit crew, one of those pit crew reporters going from crew to crew, and people just be engaged with what you're doing. What do you think?
I think my TV career, let's put this way, it's more about having smiling and not talking much, because if I say something, they might not understand what I'm talking about. They're like,
I've understood every word. It's me I worry about.
You're very kind, but hopefully we keep racing so that we don't have to be on TV asking questions, because it's not, I love it, don't get me wrong, but I think they would have a hard time to understand me.
Elio, it has been a real pleasure. I got your series mixed up a little bit on the one question, but I'll tell you what, it's awesome, and I hope to see you this weekend. Are you going to race once or twice? Just one last. Are you racing once or twice?
We race only on Saturday.
That's all right, because there's so many races going on. But you look like a podium guy. Can you practice the hold right now? Look, oh my gosh, there you go. There's a champion. Thank you very much. Thank you. Got it.
Simon Pagenaud recently won the 2019 Indy 500. He held off Alexander Rossi for the victory and comes off of 2 wins at the famed track, with his first being on the road course earlier this month, and now has won the biggest spectacle in racing.
Simon, after winning the race, it was really, it was like an Artful Dodger type thing. It looked like Alexander Rossi was in a Wreck-It Ralph move, just punting everybody out of the way, and he got everybody but you.
Thank you. It was an amazing day. That's certainly one of my proudest moments in my career. Being able to win the biggest race in the world is just phenomenal. But I take too much credit. I think, my team Penske, my crew on the 22 car was just outstanding that day. No mistakes, perfect pit stops. Everything just went our way. The stars aligned, and then here we are today. victors. So that's the best feeling in racing.
It seemed like you were in a sweet spot all day long. You were either running out front, the only times you weren't is when you went into the pit, and after everybody cycled through, you were right back out there. Did you kind of feel like this was destined, or was it just relief when you finally got to kiss the bricks?
I felt like it was all meant to be, quite frankly, with you. I'm not going to go into details of that. I think it's personal belief, but I just felt like everything was going right. Everything was flowing. Every time we need something to happen, it happens. We saved fuel when we needed to. We were up front most of the day, and then we made that last move at the end to go and win it. So it just felt like we could conquer every obstacle.
Just a couple more if we got just a quick second here. Did you stay up and watch a Coca-Cola 600 at all to see if Roger would get that elusive, the double dip? I mean, it's like a unicorn. I don't even know if anybody can do it, but if anybody is, it's got to be him.
It's the most impressive team there is in racing. Team Penske has the most win in Indianapolis, 18 win, and obviously they're amazing in NASCAR. Joey Logano winning last year was phenomenal. So I tell you what, there's no other teams you want to be with. They are the Yankees of racing, and I'm so proud to be part of it. But I didn't have any time to review even my race. So obviously we talked about this great race, the greatest race in racing, to all the media all over the world, and didn't have time to reflect much on it.
And this is the most intense month that you have as an IndyCar driver. I mean, you have two drivers. You have two races at Indy, got all those practices, all those qualifying, and then you come right to Roger's backyard. You really have no time to relax.
It's like one of those challenges Roger would give to you. It's fun, at the end of the day. This is our number 2 priority is to win in Detroit. It's Chevy Town. It's Roger's town where he's done so much for Belle Isle, and he's doing so much for the city. So it's our duties as these drivers to do the best we can to bring him another win and make him smile at the end of the day.
If it's not too personal, did you bring your condo here? Oh my! That is the ring of a champion. I wonder, do you have to pay maintenance fees on that thing? Holy smokes, that is a big ring.
I might have to pay maintenance for cleaning. Yes.
Well, hopefully if you get 4 of them, that'll be wow. If anybody can do it, it'll be a way to go, Simon. Everybody else is waiting for you. Thanks, Simon. Finally, and in a bonus interview, Roger Penske talks about his various racing projects. Now in his mid-80s, Penske is not done winning races and championships.
That's a stat. I have a lot of stats, but I don't remember that one.
Right. If I could quickly ask you, you've had a lot of success down under with supercars, and you've won the Indy 500. It's a good year, Roger.
Well, with Joey and Brad already in the finals for NASCAR, but down under, we've got a great team with Fabian Coulthard and Scott McLaughlin. Let me tell you, these guys have just absolutely performed, no mistakes. In fact, one race Scott couldn't even start. A guy hit him on the reconnaissance lap. But when you think about the number of wins so far that we've had in polls, Scott McLaughlin is a special guy down there, and I don't think people realize how good he is, and hopefully at some point we'll bring him to the U.S.
Yeah, there's a little rumor that maybe he may come over in 2021 and do something. Akers, perhaps?
Well, look, we're always looking at what could be realistic. I think we just have to see, where our sponsorship is, what cars might be available. But if he comes over here, whatever he's going to do is have to start and build. He's going to have to build his career here one lap at a time.
Yeah, and you do it for you, obviously.
Absolutely.
Helio Castroneves said he wants to take whatever you're taking to keep your energy. And how much longer do you want to keep going with this? I mean, how much energy do you feel like you still have to be a part of racing?
Well, I've got a lot of energy, and I'm going to be here as long as I can be here. So I have no game plan, no time frame.
You think you're going to get the Penske double dip on, Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600? Is it a unicorn, or is it something you're eventually going to have?
Well, we've run the Indy race and finished second a couple of times in the 600. I thought we had a chance the other night with we had a slow pit stop there and got out, behind a little bit. But Logano's on it. Brad is. Blaney's just around the corner, and Paul certainly Paul Menard's running well too. So we got a great team there.
Any comment on the penalty to Will? It looked pretty stiff from the outside, and he felt it may have been at the time.
Well, we looked at that afterwards. He did hit the pit crew, and it really knocked him off balance. Really, what it did, and it's a tough call. To make a guy do a drive-through. They've done on someone else. They made him go to the back of the field. So, I put him on the back of the field. But, you can't go back and replay those things. And for me to say I liked it or didn't like it, I don't want to get in trouble with the officials. You know what I understand.
You got to wrap it up and get inside, you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
That is it for this edition of Midwest Sports Scene. To get updates on racing, the Tigers, Red Wings, Lions, golf, and much, much more, go to www.midwestsportscene.com. That is it for this edition of Midwest Sports Scene. To get updates on racing, the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, golf, and much, much more, go to www.midwestsportscene.com. Until next time, this is Roy J. Akers reporting.